Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time. And what I want to do here very, very quickly is say, what are 5 things that could go wrong in 2022? I've done several videos over the last week about what I think is coming. We've done some over-unders with other experts, but I wanted to flip the coin. I wanted to look out into the future and talk about 5 things that could go wrong. That way you and I are looking for these things, realizing that if they did happen, they could really impact the year. So number one, we could repeat some of the sins of 2004 and 2005. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, that was the era of letting non-qualified buyers buy. That was the era of letting non-qualified investors buy several. Yes, folks, the big short that jokes about strippers buying 3 or 4 homes is real. I saw it, and it was unfortunately a national sport. I do not expect us to create mortgage products that will incent non-qualified buyers to become buyers. However, I am concerned that we may create down payment assistance programs that allow people to get into homes that are not yet financially ready. Let me be clear. I believe getting on the property ladder is amazing. I believe getting on the property ladder and staying on the property ladder is outstanding. I am concerned that we may create incentives to get people on the property ladder that just don't have the financial education to stay there. If you get on the property ladder and you are kicked out with a foreclosure, short sale, or deed in lieu after 2 years, is that a win? I say no. Again, I want you to hear me. If you get down payment assistance and you stay on the property ladder, that is a huge win. Yay, congratulations. I am concerned because I saw last time people get a yes answer from a bank that shouldn't. They shouldn't, and they lost eventually. So again, one of the things we could do is we could over-rotate. We could create down payment assistance for first-time homebuyers that are just not ready yet. They'll get ready, but they're not ready yet. And if you put somebody on the property ladder who can't afford it, bad things will eventually happen. It will feel great in the short term, bad in the long term. So that is number one. Number two, we could get an interest rate spike. So what do I mean by spike? First and foremost, I do believe what we are seeing is a general tick up in interest rates. Yes, the last week or so have gone the other way. So congratulations if you take advantage of those. But interest rates by 12 months from now, I suspect will be higher. I suspect they will get higher gradually. Let's say some black swan event comes out and suddenly rates spike. And what do I mean by spike? So let's take the 3.3% 30-year mortgage and take it to 5%. Let's say we do that inside of 30 days. Essentially, interest rates would go up 50% in 30 days. That is a spike that would freeze the housing market. That would be bad. That would have ripple impacts across all kinds of debt markets, and that would stop real estate in its tracks as we figured out what the heck is going on. So we could have an interest rate spike. In fairness, if interest rates went the other way, instead of going from 3.3 to 5, what if they went from 3.3 to 1.5? Well, party on, refinance everywhere, buying because houses are more affordable, all of that stuff. So yes, one thing that could stop this is a interest rate rise. Number 3, and frankly, of all 5, this is the one that scares me the most because I think this one is most likely of the 5. Not saying it is most likely, but of the 5, this is the one that I'm like, this could happen. One of my greatest fears, and I've talked about it a lot over the last 2 months, is we have a stagflation environment, which means we have inflation above 6-7%, and we have a job market that is deteriorating. We have inflation and no growth. That is, that's not good. And I actually think that is a real risk next year, especially because, as we talked about on the daily financial news today, Jerome Powell has now made in stable prices his thing. And that means that maybe he just focuses on inflation, even though the job market in the economy goes into recession. That is a concern that I have. Sorry, my dogs are making noise over there. Number 4, we could have, I don't know if you would call it a war or a conflict or some kind of international incident where 2 large countries get cranky with each other and soldiers are dispersed. War is bad. War that takes on more and more spending, bad. Again, this is not something I hope for. It's not something that is possible, or not something that I think is really likely, but it is possible. A war, a version of this would not be good, in my opinion. And then finally, one that would really be hard to think about, but is at least out there, is national rent control. I believe states would rise up and fight this, but again, something that could go out there as rents increase, because values go first, rents go second. We could see this become a dominant theme. And if you don't know, there's pretty solid evidence that the only way to destroy a city faster than rent control is if you bombed it. Yes, folks, rent control, you can look at San Francisco, New York, and many other areas, does not lead to investment, leads to rundown buildings. And the only people that benefit from rent control are the people that got in early. The folks that try to get in later, no inventory, nobody's moving. It is not a good thing. So again, those are the 5 things that could go wrong. Let me know what you think of the list, and also let me know what else you think could go wrong next year. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.